Okay, it's early, but before we start, we're having a very short meeting because we don't have a quorum after one of our members has to leave for Easter party. And everyone is on spring break. This is the first time, I think, in the 13 years, I think, that we've not had a quorum. So it's probably your Easter present, going home early. So let's start, before our meeting, let's start with open mic. Does anyone have something to say? Would like to make a presentation? Do you have something to? Yes. Thank you. Can we do the meeting minutes? Okay. Can I have an approval, please, of the minutes of March 19th?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Thank you. And we have a new member here, but he couldn't vote today.
Well, there's no voting anyway.
Yes, there is, the first, yeah, there is. The
Oh,
vote,
there is.
yeah,
Okay.
He's behind you.
okay. You're welcome, and we look forward to having you with us next week, next month.
Mrs. Wood, could he sit at the table?
Yes,
He can't vote?
of course, I guess, yeah.
Why don't you,
Is that
would that be
right?
okay?
Yeah, would you like to come sit beside Rosemary? His paperwork has not been finished, so therefore he can't vote, but he's certainly welcome, and we're happy to have him.
Is this Mike?
Yeah, Mike Standing.
How you doing?
His uncle was mayor when you and I were active.
Yeah, it's funny, I saw that Mike Standing was appointed, and I said, I wonder if it's the guy who's as old as me, or if it's his son. 'Cause I graduated from high school with your father.
I did with his grandfather. We have a request for a temporary drainage easement for Virginia Beach 9 Limited Partnership, Point One Holdings.
Good
David.
morning, Madam Chair, members of the authority. Real quick, in the interest of time, we have a request for a temporary drainage easement for Point One Holdings, which is the new data center in Corporate Landing. Just to give you a quick point of reference, that's green flash on the right side, and you'll see the BMP on the top left corner of the property. The first phase of development is about 5.7 acres. The overall development will be 10.7 acres when it's done. And real quick, just to highlight, in the red are power lines, is the power line easement, and they're requesting a drainage easement where the two dash lines are to the BMP. And this temporary easement will last approximately 90 to 120 days while they're under construction. Just quick schematic of what the site plan would be, the permit that'll be associated with it. And that's it.
Thank you. We have a, we need to vote on
Need to
that
vote
one?
on it.
Okay. You hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next one's a request for approval of a resolution authorizing $7,500 in Economic Development Investment Program Part A to Three Ships Coffee for capital investment. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. This morning, presenting to you a recommendation for Three Ships Coffee Roasters. The disclosures read as the owners, the accountant, architect, and legal services in the banking institution, as you see there. And also, just to give you a little background on the owners, Amy and Brad Ewing, they started in their Shadow Lawn neighborhood garage, and then they started after that in the Old Beach Farmers Market for about 2 years. And so they're currently located now on 19th Street in the Vibe District, occupying about 2,000 square feet. They're looking to open a second location on Jackrabbit Road, 7,100 square feet. This would be solely for manufacturing and storing coffee, and also dedicating 3 conjoined incubator spaces. The recommendation is for $7,500 based on capital investment. And that comprised of $115,000 for machinery and tools and FF&E jobs, currently 3. They're looking to bring on board 6 to 15. Average wage of jobs, $24,960. And again, I just want to reiterate that this location will be used for them roastering and shipping out, not just in the Hampton Roads area, but nationally as well. This is the current condition of of the location, that they're, the second location. And this is just the rendering here of the front as well as the back. And the site plan. And again, the recommendation is for $7,500.
I think this is one of our first businesses in the Vibe District. And I think they're Saturday morning at the farmer's market. It's really good coffee. Any
Yes.
questions? Hear a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry we're running through this so quickly, but, okay, the next one is a, request for approval of resolution authorizing 40,000 Economic Development Investment Program to BN Media for job retention, right? And someone's here from BN.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. Also have with us today the President and COO of BN Media, Jeremy McGee. I'd like to introduce to you. Here's the disclosures for the land and building owner that BN Media is located in. Again, I won't go over each one, but certainly you can see those. The applicant, BN Media LLC, is division of Bonneville Communications Corporation. They have their own accounting, legal services, and their financing is out of the Bank of Oklahoma. The summary this morning is our request is for EDIP of $40,000 for Part A award for the job retention and new job creation. You see the capital investment on the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that they'll be utilizing, and also the new furniture, fixtures, and equipment that they'll be bringing in. The new full-time jobs they'll be creating is 5, and will be retaining 28 jobs that I'll explain a little bit in a moment. The average wage of the new jobs is $85,000. They're located at 2037 Laskin Road in the Hilltop area, as you see there. And want to go over the company history a little bit. BN Media Associates was formed back in 2010. The original company had 2 divisions, BeliefNet and Affinity 4 at that particular time. The authority in 2016 awarded the company $45,000. It was a new company to Virginia Beach at that particular time. That particular award was based upon their investment, which was satisfied last year. Then the company was sold to Bonneville Communications in 2018, their division BN Media LLC. The companies that were sold, the affiliates were sold, were the BeliefNet and the Pathos affiliates. Affinity 4 remains here also in Virginia Beach under the previous company and the owners of the building. They're staying in the same building there. Bonneville seeks to move BN Media to their headquarters in Utah, and that's why we're coming to you today to keep this business, keep these jobs, and an expansion in Virginia Beach. We really think through the assets of Bonneville that this will become an East Coast center of operations and continue to increase employment in the months ahead.
Thank you, Ray.
BeliefNet and Pathos, again, are the 2 companies that were purchased, and they're multimedia companies. They do website and blog development. And again, we're requesting $40,000 in EIP Part A in funds for the new jobs and retention.
Thank
Be
you.
glad to answer any questions.
Madam Chair, although I do not provide legal services directly for this entity, my firm does, so I'm going to abstain from this.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
I don't necessarily have the background of the
Okay, sure.
previous investments, but looking at this particular investment in the job retention, I'm just trying to find a balance between the investment for job retention, which works out to, I think it's $1,200 per FTE over a 5-year period, and the business decision to move or not move. I guess what I'm struggling with is trying to figure out whether $1,200 amortized over 5 years is a tipping point for a business decision to move or not move from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I'm trying to sort out if that's the best use of the money from economic development to make that investment, and whether or not that $1,200 is truly the tipping point in the decision to move or not move. Because that's presented as part of the reasoning for coming here, to keep the jobs in Virginia Beach pending a possible move to Utah. So I don't know that there's answers to that question that somebody can give me, but that's what I'm struggling with right now, trying to reconcile the business decision and whether or not the tipping point is $1,200 per employee amortized over 5 years.
That's a good question, Bill.
Madam
Bill?
Chairman, I do recognize. Ray, you mind if I take this one?
Yeah, and certainly we had Mr. McGee with them also, but there was one key factor. Utah's taxes are a great deal less than ours. They felt through being here for several more years with this incentive to kind of counterbalance the taxes out there, that it will give them a chance to grow and expand again based upon the new ownership of those two. So I think that was a key point. I don't know if there was any more.
Yeah,
on that,
I'd
Jamie.
like to jump in. Thank you, Ray. Again, great question, and certainly that there was a tax implication to it. The mechanically, two things to mention about this request and its relationship to the prior request, and this is ultimately where we were able to I believe get comfortable at the staff level to bring it forward today. First, the initial EDIP that we did here was based on capital investment only. So there was no investment made in the initial group of jobs that were brought here. That capital investment portion was satisfied rather quickly, within I believe 12 to 18 months. Company was sold, and so we're dealing with a new legal entity with whom we do not have a prior relationship. This investment is based solely on jobs, and it's in an effort to establish an East Coast center of operations for the company that will continue on. One thing that we have in this award that was not present in the prior one is basically the clawback provision that would allow us to recapture these funds were the company to leave in the next 5 years. So we think this gives us a better position than we currently have, and we do think the retention is solid.
I did see the 5-year clawback. Let me follow up then, since the tax portion was brought up. Is this an income tax question, state tax level, or is this a local business license issue?
The business license.
The business license, okay. That's an important distinction for me.
Yeah.
Because of the local business license piece of the retention there.
Right.
Versus the income tax and dealing with apportionment issues that, really become a moot point, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
Business license.
Thanks,
Business
Bill.
license, thank you.
Your motion,
So moved.
second? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming. The next one is a request for approval to use $15,000 in Economic Development Investment Program Part D for Town Center parking study. Taylor?
I'll be very quick with this one. You all will remember about a year ago, a little more than that, we indicated that we would need to update our parking study for Town Center after the completion of the construction for the block that holds the Ziders American Dream Theater and the new multifamily. This is what we're asking you to do. We've worked with the team in SGA to build a series of hard counts of occupancy within the garages over the past 6 or 8 weeks. We are ready to update that study. We're asking for your approval to do so.
It's really important. We were at Ziders this weekend and the parking was pretty full all
That's
over.
right. That's right. We're feeling the pinch, so we'd like to know where we're
Okay,
at.
good, thank you. Your motion,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Taylor, the next one's yours. Request for Virginia, pollution discharge and elimination system. Wow.
That's right. This is just a little more bookkeeping for us. We have active construction permits in place on these 3 sites. We're asking just to there is some grandfathering that plays into our what we're able to do in each of these parks. We're just asking for the ability to update those permits to keep them current, so that as we sign tenants, clients, whatnot, we can move forward.
Thank you. Your motion, please.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. What are the next ones you have?
That is the end of the voting.
Okay.
It's now financial statements.
I want to tell you all that this is not like our normal meeting for the new members. And since we didn't have a quorum, and we won't as soon as Lisa leaves, we've had to really rush through it. And you will find we have a lot more detail from now on. And thank you for your patience. Lisa has an important thing she has to do, and I appreciate you coming in.
Ready for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so, as you all know, Sean Murphy, the accountant for VBDA, normally does this part of the presentation, but he is with his family on spring break, and so he has, at his own peril, trusted me with the financials this month. So here we go. As you can see, not a great deal of change from beginning cash to ending cash. I won't read this to you, but important thing to note that you'll see the last item there on cash disbursements, $120,000 or about $121,000 to the city treasurer for this is again unexpended pedestrian bridge. This goes back to your audit. We found this has been out there for more than 10 years. This is to complete that transaction and close out the audit finding from last fall. Our beginning cash, again, ending cash, not a big impact there. Beginning cash of $2.8 million, 2.81, ending cash of $2.86 million. Again, you'll see the $123,000 reimbursement for Town Center Block 9, or from Town Center Block 9 consultants being the largest impact there. But again, not a major change in beginning and ending cash. Total available funding, and so this is straight out of the sheet that you all see with more detail in your packets. Our ending cash that's held was $2.86 million, as we showed you on the previous slide. If you add in the EDIP and other receivables that we have, there's $8 million there, less our payables and commitments. Important to note that not all of these payables are EDIP payments. Many of these are studies that you all have that are underway, much like the update to the town center parking study that you just authorized construction permits. But these are total commitments across all of our activities, and then ending available funding of $1.8 million. One thing I will mention on commitments that are out there, 26,000 of that is related to updates to permits within corporate landing that are important for us to be able to list those sites as shovel ready. So again, a sizable commitment there that is outside of outside of the EDIP program. So that's the difference you'll see there. Those are the financials. Any questions for me on that summary? Again, not a big impact month for us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Let's do the priorities first before Lisa leaves, and then we can go back to Tabitha. Again, I welcome all of our new members and apologize for our brief meeting. We're very happy to have with us today the chairman of the Planning Commission, Dee Oliver. Thank you for coming, Dee. And Director, do you have a report before Lisa leaves?
I do. We have a series of things that were going on. We were happy to be with the Ruritans last night, talking about land acquisition in Kempsville. The first citizen banquet is upcoming on Monday night, and we have 2 items in front of City Council today related to we would say fairly sizable deals that in which our department's been engaged, and we, one of those you'll hear about in just a moment at Bonnie Road.
And Madam Chair, an update on, I can provide more detail in executive session if we are able to do that today, but otherwise, update on the Dome site. You may recall, and for new members, there were several items in the term sheet that was adopted by Council and the Development Authority that required us to do some action before we actually finish the complete development agreement for the Dome site, two of which are a negotiation for lease or acquisition with the United Methodist Church on 19th, on 18th and Pacific. That is the parcel where we've contemplated for the office tower development. So we've been working through that. And the second is acquisition of the parcel that is on 18th Street in between Pacific and Arctic Avenues, where there's currently a Virginia Power, the Atlantic Transmission site. It's owned by Norfolk Southern, which they also own the fee for 18th Street. We've been working through negotiation for that, and that has been going along about as quickly as you would deem possible working with Virginia Power and Norfolk Southern, but we have agreed on a purchase price, and we're working with Virginia Power on what the retirement for that transmission site would look like. Otherwise, we are continuing to work through the terms for the operating agreement of the entertainment venue with Oakview and Live Nation, and then we've also been working on the overall development agreement package. We still aim for bringing that to the Development Authority and Council this summer.
Good. And you're getting ready for something in the water.
We sure are.
Round zero.
Yeah.
Mr. Standy's at ground zero.
Oh, you really are, aren't you? I bet you're getting ready.
Yes.
No problem.
Good. Ed, anything else before we go to the, what do you want to do next, the closed session or? No, do you want to go with Tabitha or Bonnie Road
Let's
update?
carry
How
on.
about that?
Let's go with Tabitha. That's all right. Oh, you want me to do Bonnie Road?
I don't care.
Bonnie Road?
I'm sorry, Tabitha, it's just so screwed up today, we just,
I can do Bonnie real quick.
okay, while
Lisa's
Lisa's here. Lisa, have you ever been so important?
No, sorry. My apologies to everyone. Should I tell them why I have to leave?
Well, sure.
I committed to do my son's Easter party back in September, not realizing it was the same day. So
That is extraordinary.
to him, it is very.
Well, it is.
It is important.
So this is the rest of the director's report. This is an item that we're going to be showing to City Council this afternoon. It was in their packet over the weekend. So where this is traditionally the type of briefing that we might do in closed session. The fact that this was sort of in the public's hands over the weekend give us the opportunity to come straight out and brief you here in open. Just to give you an idea where we're starting, this is the parcel on Bonnie Road. You can see as it bends through here, the parcel comes back and then ties in on the corner. As to our disclosures are here, I won't read those to you, I'll just let you all review those. And now, history of the site. What I can tell you is the city has owned this property more than once. So what we know is we owned it before 1999, and then we owned it again in 2003. That well predates my time here. I see that some of you are around for that first one because I see smiles and chuckles, which always seem to happen when we mention the history of this site. But nonetheless, in October of 17, an RFP was published by this office. Proposals were received from Olympia Development and Harmony Investments. In December of 17, Olympia was selected. We worked through I guess their proposal, working towards a sales agreement and negotiation of the terms. In September 18th, there was a pre-submittal meeting where it was determined that a series of studies were done. Most importantly, were needed. Most importantly, a wetland study that the city did. That study, we'll show you a layout in just a moment, revealed approximately 7.5 developable acres. In December of 18, construction began on the Thalia Creek Greenway Phase 2, which is immediately adjacent to the site and creates some easement some pinching as related to generally from construction easements. January of 19, Olympia and city staff amended the development plan to be reflective of the new existing site conditions, namely the Greenway Trail. And then in March of 19, Olympia submitted preliminary cost to be plugged into a draft sales agreement, and it's from there that gets us to where we are today. To give you a quick idea of what we're looking at, the Bonnie Road site, it's 11.7 total acres, 7.5 of those are developable. The 1920 assessment, the current assessment of the real estate's 1.7 million. The developer has offered us 1.8 million for the 7.5 developable acres, and as you see below, has agreed to establish a nominal value for the remaining land. A $50,000 deposit will be made upon execution of the agreement, and as you can see, just to show you where we are, the 1.7 million, that is the assessment applied to the entire site. So that's $144,000 per acre for the 11.5 acres. We've got an offer of 1.8 million at $240,000 per acre for the 7.5. So I would tell you, from an assessment standpoint, we are consistent with your principles there. The developer's offer as it relates to construction. Why are we showing ranges on professional office? You'll see that's 100 to 140,000 square feet. We're at preliminary design. We don't have a real sense of soil condition yet and exactly what the land will carry. We feel that 100,000 is doable in a worst case scenario, but we think that that we've got a slugger's chance of getting 140,000 square feet of professional office there. So if you all elect to move forward and council elects to move forward with some of the decisions that will be presented to them, we'll advance design and know exactly what we're getting into at that point. Developer has shown us construction costs of $250 per foot. That gives us totals of 25 to 35 million for professional office. Multifamily, we're looking at currently 240 units, again, working with the existing site conditions. That may come up a little, may come down a little bit, but we feel comfortably that we can put 240 units there at 175,000 per unit for 42 million. And then parking, we're looking at a very tight site, so we are talking about structured parking. 782 spaces are proposed currently at 15,000 per space. That's the developer's number, not ours. And that is 11.7 million total for the parking. Net of parking, we believe we're talking about a $75 million development here by the time we get it all laid out. Here's the site. So you'll remember, again, just will mention this is a preliminary, a conceptual drawing of where we are. This is, you can see we have a garage here and then a garage here with the multifamily built around the second garage. One change that we just got at the end of last week, we don't have a rendering to carry this, is that we anticipate that the site is constrained to the point that we will lose this building and that becomes an extension of multifamily. We still have the two towers here. And you can see here's the impact of the Thayer Greenway Trail. Important to note, this is all wetland. And then we have some wetland impact over here that we'll talk about in just a moment. But if you consider, here's Bonnie Road, here's Independence. This second point of ingress and egress will be critically important to development of this site as we move forward. So it's one of the things that we'll want to talk about in just a moment. We're concerned when you talk about putting potentially 782 new parking places on that site. We've really got to understand the impact that has on the intersection at Bonnie and Independence. And so to avoid stacking, we think that the second ingress and egress is critical. This is a delineation from the wetland study, but also validated by the developer's engineer. And so what this chicken scratch is showing you is exactly how much of the site can be developed and what the wetland impacts are. We have a 4.2 acre parcel here and a 3.3 acre parcel here. This is what's driving the 7.5 developable acres, and even that is impacted by a drainage easement that bisects the site. Wetland, the Greenway, and then further wetland impact over here. So this is just to show you what we found in the study. So the developer requested cost participation in the project as such. The developer is requesting assistance in parking, similar to what City Council has done in other town center. I should tell you this property is within the town center TIF. So this is, the developer is requesting cost participation similar to what we've seen in other town center parking deals. Or I would say other town parking arrangements in the area. There's a EDIP Part B application that is coming your way next month. Request a total of $604,000. 142,000 of that is for roadway. That is to construct that is for our portion of purchasing wetland mitigation credits, but then also sort of scrubbing out and grubbing out the land to put in the second road. Stormwater participation of $410,000. We think that that's 340. There's a 20% contingency that's plugged in there. Here's the reason for the participation in stormwater. If we don't, we're undergrounding stormwater here. If we don't do that, we lose the second tower. I'm going to show you the impact on the net present value of the deal and what it generates for the city in just a moment. But we can clearly demonstrate that the immediate and long-term impact to the city is far greater with the second tower. Off-site utilities. This is we're talking about water and sewer infrastructure here. We've got an upsized pipe from 8 inches to 12 inches to account for the density of the design. The pump station can handle it, so it's a relatively small expenditure. Just to remind you at the bottom, the developer's investment is the $1.8 million for the real estate, and then $75 million in improvements. One last thing on this page, we've true to your new policy that was the new EDIP procedures. All facets of this investment package are performance based. So important to note, everything that we're showing you here is based on performance. The fiscal impact, the net present value. This deal is cash flow positive in year 3. Our ROI, we have basically recovered our funds, and the deal is a net contributor, total contributor in year 12. The net present value is higher with city participation in stormwater than without. We got a $3.7 million net present value over 25 years. Normally, we would not show you a 25-year amortization. However, as this is basically the deal that's proposed is similar to what you all might have seen in City View 2. So we're running with the developer's amortization schedule and not the city's. So 25 years so a $3.7 million net present value over 25 years with the additional office tower that we would lose if we did not underground stormwater. $2 million over, that should be $2.2 million over 25 years without the 60,000 square foot building. Sorry, that's a typo on my part. It should be 25 on the second and not 20. But again, a $2 million net present value without the tower. What happens is, so we got to do stormwater on the site. We can't put the stormwater in the wetlands. So what happens is we lose an office tower to put in the BMP, and the loss of the 60,000 square feet of a professional office has a major impact on the financial return to the city as it relates to the project. That net present value is inclusive of the impact of the EDIP. Normally, again, we're talking about two funding sources. We wouldn't show them that way, but we wanted to show you the most conservative look at the deal. So we stacked in the EDIP as a total project contributor. Our next steps. So we hope to be back to you on May 7th for consideration of the Part B award. We're also going to be asking City Council today if they'll let us schedule a public hearing for May 7th, and then based on the outcome of the public hearing, we hope that we'll be able to present a total package to City Council on May 21st. I went through that pretty quickly. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Yeah. On the excess property for the extra office tower, what makes the Economic Development Authority want to get that second tower and not just have the developer build the BMP himself? What's the benefit?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's the benefit of having the second tower as opposed to just one multifamily? Why not have the developer build the BMP without city participation?
The tax revenue. I mean, that's really so the BMP generates no revenue for the city. The tower generates 60,000 square feet at $250 a foot will generate couple $100,000 a year real estate taxes or more. And so that's really what it is. It's the long-term impact of the real estate tax or the absence of the real estate tax from the deal.
So it's a $12 million investment for a garage for
It's
a 240 unit deal, and
so it's parking for the entire site.
right.
So that is to build both garages.
What's
And
the
that,
top? I can't see. I'm sorry. What's the top left?
So-
Parking.
so we got parking here
Right.
and then parking here.
Right.
And so it's,
So that parking's for the multifamily. The garage.
that's right. And you can see we're gonna tie in a trail here because we believe that, that there will be some people that park here and walk, but the majority of the activity in this garage will support the two towers.
So it's two garages.
That's right, two garages. And so this is a garage with some retail, ground floor retail wrapped around it. That's proposed at present. And so we've got here and then the two towers. If we have to do stormwater above ground, we lose this tower.
Right.
And so
You couldn't go underground with the stormwater.
that's the plan. So the thought is this plaza is where we're talking about putting the stormwater underground right now.
So why?
That's the
why didn't you
340,000.
decide to build a second building?
What's that?
Why can't you do the stormwater underneath with both buildings?
It is. That's the point.
Yeah.
In order to get the second tower, we need to underground.
That's right.
If we don't underground, then you need a B&P, you need a pond.
Right.
That's right.
And the depth and the size of the pond would probably be about as the size of one of those towers, given the
Exactly,
impact.
yeah. So in addition to the tax revenue, we know there is a market for this type
That's
of
right.
office space, particularly with our bio challenge where we've had 17 companies that have graduated from that. So we're looking for a feeder system of that industry cluster in general.
That's right.
And then there are active tenants for this site as well.
Gotcha. Thanks.
So that would be my question about the office. There is enough demand still left in the market?
There's an anchor tenant that
That's right.
is in discussion with the developer, yes, and then this gives us a feeder system for our bio challenge winners as well.
That's right.
Any reason for the timing? It seems a little bit accelerated, but we're just,
It's-
I'm sure it's been in the works, but we're just hearing about it now.
So, well, so yes, important to know, we've been working this since 2017, but the other is we've got a developer that's pushing us pretty hard to meet what is a tenant in that's waiting in the wings.
So again, the development authority's role is for the EDIP.
That's right. We're just here
Sale
for-
of property is the city.
That's right. That's right.
It requires supermajority, Steve?
9 votes.
Yeah, we do.
Bill,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I thought.
That's right. And so what we're showing you here today, we're showing you all portions of the deal simply because we want you to understand how your EDIP plugs into it. But that's right. This is the consideration that's coming to you next month is for the EDIP Part B, which at that point we'll isolate specifically on those aspects and go into deeper detail on exactly what we're doing there. But for purposes of the conversation today, wanted you to see what City Council was going to see as the EDIP is referenced in the presentation.
Thank you. Any comments, any other comments?
Great.
Thank you. Okay. Any,
Amphitheater. Amphitheater.
I know, but there's nothing else. Tabitha, I'm sorry to keep you waiting so long. We value you, we just love what you do for us. Nice to hear about the money you're making. Always. For us.
I don't know if I can
No,
speak
for
as
us.
fast as, I don't know if I can
No.
speak as fast as
Thank
Taylor
you.
did, but I'm certainly going to try to get through this. Hi, my name is Tabitha Webster. I'm the general manager at Veterans United Home Loans Amphitheater at Virginia Beach. And this is just our little recap of what the building's been doing. So we'll just go through a quick recap of 2018, give you a broad level overview of the financial summary, what we've done for capital improvements at the venue, and then what we're doing in 2019. So we had 27 shows last year. 5 of those were over 15,000 in attendance, with Imagine Dragons being sold out. Chris Brown was a close second, very close to being sold out. We did 2 pavilion-only shows, which for us just means that it's a more quaint atmosphere, and we do not open the lawn for those events. We have an average attendance of over 10,000 for last year, and then generated $1.79 million in rent and taxes to the city. So to date, we've done 647 events. The building opened in 1996. We've had 6.4 million fans come through the doors, and finally surpassed the $30 million mark in revenue and taxes for the city of Virginia Beach.
Would you say that again?
Everyone can hear you.
We finally surpassed the $30 million mark.
For our new members, that's really.
It
super. Thank
is.
you.
It is a significant financial milestone. So happy to see that number this year. What we did last year, every year we share in capital improvements with the authority for those items that were original to the building or things that are deemed capital improvements by the authority. So we have, you see on your left, we had these old draft beer stands that were original to the building. We started to convert them as of last year. So what we have on the right is the new building. The project total came in at $65,000. The Development Authority pays 56.5% of that out of the capital fund. So that was $37,000 for the authority, and Live Nation contributed another $28,000. We also, in addition to that, and I didn't put it up on the slide, but we only had 3 items that the authority shared in last year. So the other 2 weren't as exciting, but still necessary. So we also painted a lot of the structural steel out at the building, in addition to repaving the asphalt in front of the box office. So that was another $94,000 in capital, with the authority contributing $53,000 and Live Nation contributing $42,000. And then there's the projects that Live Nation just does on its own, just to add to the building. So last year we built what we call the flight deck, which sits at the top of the lawn on stage right. We built it for $183,000. It's a public concession stand, which really caters to our folks on the lawn. The lawn holds over 13,000 people alone, so we needed more concessions up on the lawn for those guests. And then we also have a private viewing area and a private service area, which is the deck itself. And on the right-hand side, you can kind of see the view from the deck, which is, in my opinion, kind of the coolest view if you're standing up on the lawn. We also added all new furniture to the VIP club for our clients and our season ticket holders. This picture on the left, which is kind of hard to see, but we had a lot of iron furniture. We partnered with Crate and Barrel, did a whole new reface in the club, added some more lounge furniture to make it more comfortable. And then we also added a new club entrance. So on the left is the old photo, which was just a canvas awning. And on the right is the new one that we built. We upgraded our box seats, which was really just replacing all the canvas on the box seats that we have in the venue, all new paint, a whole new color scheme for our clients. We want to make sure that they're seeing something new every year when they come back to the venue. And then moving into this year. Now, normally I don't present this late in the season, so believe it or not, we just kicked off our 24th season with Zach Brown this past Friday. It was a great show. We've announced 23 shows so far. I know those are really hard to read from where you're sitting. But kicked it off last Friday with the Zach Brown Band. We also have some pretty big names coming up, which I'm really excited about. We've got Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Hootie and the Blowfish. We were discussing it's maybe the final farewell tour of Kiss is coming back around. Our favorite and yours, Mr. Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band are coming back. Luke Bryan, Chris Stapleton. We really have a great lineup this year. So we've announced 23. We've probably got another 5 or 6 announcements coming. So we'll do anywhere between 27 and 29 shows this year. So what's new? This is the big one. We just added all new LED screens on the lawn. So on the left-hand side, we have 5 screens, 2 that sit at the stage, 3 on the lawn. The old lawn screens were just projector screens. They were 9 by 12. We now have 3 15 by 26 LED screens on the lawn. They're pretty amazing. The picture I took on the right was at 5:30 in the afternoon, which normally you would not be able to see anything that was on the screen. So it's a huge investment, a huge change in the experience for the folks that are on the lawn. And although you might not be able to see it, this was a shot from the flight deck the other night during Zach Brown, which was just phenomenal. Those screens are clear as day. So if you've not bought a ticket on the lawn, you might want to try the lawn this time around and check out the screens. We also, in continuing with the stuff that we partner with for the Development Authority, the merch stand you see on the left is original to the building. We've decided to give it a facelift. So we actually moved it back about 20 feet, relocated it to open up the plaza. And what you see on the right is what we've built. So we only were replacing the merch stand in conjunction with the Development Authority, but we've added to it to create another concession stand as well. So the budget for just the merch stand alone, which the Development Authority will share in, was $47,000, with your contribution being $26,000 and Live Nation's $20,000. And then we're contributing another $71,000 just for the concession portion that we built. We've also got all new parking lot markers. If you've been to the amphitheater, you know that the markers are 23 years old, so we're replacing all of those so you can see where you parked. So I know it's hard to see, but basically on the right-hand side is the rendering of the new markers. We've installed markers in 2 of the parking lots, and the rest are going in this week. That total was $52,000. The authority sharing in $29,000 and Live Nation $22,000. In addition, we're starting phase 1 of light replacement in the parking lot. So our lots in B and D, which sits at the front of the building and on the VIP club side of the building, are getting all new LED light heads. So phase 1 of that project is $165,000. The Development Authority contributing $93,000 and Live Nation $71,000. And then we'll move into continuing those replacements over the next 2 years. And then another one of the conversions of our lovely draft beer walls that need new roofs. So we're starting that project. It's actually getting demoed today, and that'll be rebuilt and up by May 15th in time for our second show, which is May 17th. Additional improvements, which are just things we've done, and it is a little reminiscent of the Seattle Seahawks, so I apologize for anybody who's not a Seahawks fan, but we did repaint all of the restrooms from top to bottom. So on the left is what they looked like before. On the right, we've brightened them all up. All the floors, the epoxy floors, have been repainted. It's been a complete facelift in the bathrooms to really improve that experience. Everybody wants a nice bathroom when you come to a public building. And then we've upgraded some of our food and beverage options. So for those of you who may not know, all of our proteins are humanely raised and sourced. We have a very high standard of what we're actually serving at the amphitheater. In addition, this year, Live Nation has partnered with some celebrity chefs to bring some different food options. One of those being Fabio Viviani, who you might best know from Top Chef, reality cooking show. He's also a restaurateur, does a lot of cookbooks. But Fabio is bringing some fabulous truffle potato skins, because who doesn't like truffles? Fried raviolis and some other updated items. We're also bringing in Art Bird, which is a chicken concept from Art Smith, who's known for his Southern cuisine. He was also a private chef to Oprah Winfrey. So that we're going to be introducing in May for our next show. And then we have Questlove cheesesteaks, which, believe it or not, is a vegetarian cheesesteak. I know, sounds weird, right? But it's delicious. But Questlove is with the band The Roots, who is the house band for The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So these are all options that are going to be on the menu this year. And again, just trying to, not only elevate your experience while you're there, but give you some more options when you come to eat. So that's really all I have.
What about the new restaurant that was proposed near? I understand that you all had a concern with the new restaurant that was proposed near the amphitheater.
The new restaurant?
There was a restaurant, a wings restaurant proposed near there.
I don't believe so. I'm not familiar with it, but
I know we'd gotten some emails. I don't know who at Live Nation was, but they were.
that was not me.
Would you please go back and give us real quickly a little history for our new members?
Sure.
Like how you started with Virginia Beach, not you necessarily, but the amphitheater?
Well, I have been there the entire time, but we'll leave that. We'll leave that for another day. But no, the amphitheater is a public-private partnership between the city of Virginia Beach and Live Nation. At the time, we were cellar door. The venue was built for $17.5 million, with $10.5 million of that coming from the city, $7 million coming from cellar door. We have, we've continued to generate revenue and make money for the city over the years. Our, supplemental rent and interest was paid off well into 2010, and everything since that has just been additional money for the city. So we continue to do things to improve the building. It looks better now than it has in a very long time. She's aging well. So, we take great pride in it. We're still bringing great shows to the venue. Still committed as we were as ever. The lease goes through 2031 for us with Live Nation, and hope you guys continue to have us. We love taking care of the building, but it's been a great building and a great opportunity and a really great partnership with the city.
Thank you so much. Any questions, any comments? We're really proud of you, what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
That's the last item.
For,
for,
conduit management?
Conduit management.
Okay.
We had hoped, so this is related to the RFP that you all have allowed us to run for conduit management system. Well, for management of the conduit system that we're building in Corporate Landing. Our IT firm did a review of the two proposals that we received. I'd hoped that we'd have a recommendation, but unfortunately they were unable to come to a recommendation based on the information that was provided, and had given us a series of questions to send back to the various proposers. However, those questions are pretty easy to answer, and I would ask for a couple of members of the authority if they were willing to basically review those answers once they come in, so that we can make a final recommendation at the May meeting.
Okay. Anyone? Charlie and,
I can help out with that.
thank you.
Thank you. It's great.
Okay, so, is that it? We aren't gonna go close meeting or session.
That's it.
Thank you all so much. Have a happy Easter, and again, I apologize for the brief meeting, but.
Never apologize for short.
Okay.
It was 50 minutes, that wasn't too
Was it? Wow.
It was almost an hour.